Welcome everyone to episode 160 of the Battlecast podcast. I'm your host Caleb Peng, joined by Hurricane Cast, T. Wastel, and I've neglected to mention this last week, but we actually had Speediest Chief Ford last week, and now we have 3-0 Butters, joined by the Spice of Wilmer. But how are you all doing?
Great. Not too bad. I mean, I just figure we've got a new guest every week. So
yes, Steve's really. I'm honestly curious. So for those that don't know, so when we're recording our we're recording stuff on our software, you can enter in a name when you're joining, and season changes. So last week he was Speediest Chief 4. It's 3-0 Butters now. I'm actually Mike Worker, which is a whole different story. But maybe I'll share that like one day on why my name's changing every 2 weeks. But Mike Worker is relevant, I guess, for some of the topics we're talking about today.
Yeah, true.
So if you all did not listen to our last week's episode, we are pre-recording this one, is what I mentioned the last one. So this is actually the day after yesterday, or last week's episode. So it is technically only the Thursday, I think, right?
Yeah, Thursday the 11th.
Yep, exactly. So obviously Global Go Fest already happened this past weekend, but we don't know because it's our upcoming weekend. So maybe we'll compare like our catches or whatever, or any good finds we have after.
I want to know, where's Steve at on the timed research for his Guzzlord?
True.
Okay. So he's got only a few hours left. He's only got a few hours left, right?
Yeah, the clock is ticking down. I think I've done 6 raids, so I think I have to cram in another 4. Sort of, it's like before the end of the workday.
I think it's 7 or 8 p.m. I believe.
Yeah. Okay. There's a few hours after,
and you only need to get to 9, I believe. 9 is the Buzzwole encounter. 10 is like a Formosa or something that you don't need as much. So
hey,
if you just get to the 9, you're chilling.
Just
That's
focus.
For the Buzzwole.
Steve, I won't blame you if you start doing some remote raids while we're doing this podcast, right? Like you got like an hour plus to just do some raids while we're talking. You just tap away, right? You don't even have to tap, right? If there's enough people in there, you just gotta
Okay, here's my plan. I'm gonna finish this timed research by the end of this podcast.
Okay, yeah. Because I want to see. Let's see if you get a shiny, right? Because you could get a shiny off of this too, right? In the field research.
Oh man, I wish we were friends because I'm actually doing worse than you. I think I've only done 3.
I'm only at 1. Okay. I'm like putting it all in the Buzzwole raids tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm at like 2, so I can't even say much either myself.
Wait, let me get this straight. So Steve is actually doing better.
Let's
than
go!
Hey, he's a whole day ahead. He's a whole day
he's
ahead.
in the future. He's in the future.
Yeah. I'm purposely banking my pass today so I could do an extra one tomorrow. But
I'm probably gonna slam some Poke Genie raids just to power through some of it. But
yeah.
Honestly,
there is that
one of the rare times that I'll mark myself as online.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do. If I hop in a raid, I'll do online just to invite random people that are online as well. Spam invites. There's usually like a couple people on my friends list are pretty reliable of like coming through and stuff. So, but it's funny because yesterday, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Tristan actually does a decent amount of remote raids. Half the time I'm like, I don't know why he's raiding this, but it's okay. Like, I'm just trying to spend my daily free pass. But thanks for joining in. We were talking yesterday. I think Tristan was that brought it up, or last week, I guess. But that hoping that we get extra storage for GoFest, and turns out we did.
Lo and behold,
it was like after we recorded, it was announced. So by the time that recording even goes up, like people already know. But
yeah, I think you messaged us. You were like, they literally posted this while we were recording.
Yeah.
Well, the first time, right? Like they posted it and then they deleted it and then they posted.
No, the actual post though, because they actually they tweeted out about it and I looked at it and it was like 1 hour ago, like right when we finished. So the official announcement was like in the middle of our recording, but like obviously we weren't just like scrolling social media, mid-recording. At least I wasn't. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
you missed
and I really need it too because I wasn't good about doing trades because this week like you get XLs for any trade, even in regards to distance, and I was like, I'm gonna max out my trades every day, and like I haven't done a single one. So, so I'm like, I'm just gonna buy some of the stores to help out. I have a buddy of mine actually joining in on GoFest. He hasn't played the game in like years, but he got back into it during Mega Rayquaza, and he asked me like what I'm doing this weekend for GoFest. And I'm just thinking like, huh.
What can I exploit him for?
We might have some box Lugia Ho I can pillage too, and we get 5 special trades, right?
Oh my gosh.
Throughout the weekend.
Caleb's
So
gonna be
we'll see though.
scamming this guy to no other.
They're probably going to be guaranteed luckies actually, which is my main concern because he played the game a lot in 2016. Like had more stuff than me right off the bat for a couple months, and then he just like stopped playing for a couple years until recently. So, we'll see. We'll see what he's got. I'll up to you all next week if I pulled off successful scams or not. PvP. Right? That's fine.
I mean, you're gonna update
It's fine.
me and Kaz next week. Steve will be on vacation, and our listeners and viewers won't know for 2 weeks.
True. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Well, that's confusing when you phrase it like that because by the time they're listening to it, it's still like next week, right? But it's 2 weeks for us.
It's all just timey-wimey nonsense.
Yeah. All right, so let's discuss some of the YouTube comments. And this is from episode 158 because we didn't do it last week because we're running a little bit low on time. But it was from our introduction episode of all 4 co-hosts. Lanker says, I miss Coriander Clown already. Also, when it comes to World Social, I'm working on it. Any help at all is appreciated. So reach out to Lanker and if you want to help out with World Social stuff. Greasy Cuisine responded to that message saying, the real question is who will be the clown of this group?
I think the fact that Steve has already changed his name twice.
Yeah. Well, I didn't remember what it was the first week.
Oh, it's Anacor XI.
Yeah. Anacor 10 or 11 or whatever.
Well, I look forward to seeing how you change up Zionic's username.
One day he's going to be like Peng Caleb, and then one day he's going to be like mild weather Kaz or something.
Well, Uber Eats delivery person this morning, the person that delivered food here, their name was Peng, which is kind of wild. Which is my last name twice, and there was no space. Which is like, are you like shared? Like, do you only have like one name? I'm so confused.
I mean, we all know how he's going to change Caleb's name. He's just going to be Aaron Zhang.
Dude, these days that doesn't even happen anymore because Aaron Zhang got like a perm and he like got like a whole new makeover and stuff when he went to. I don't remember if he went to Korea or or maybe he went to China. He got it done, but anyway. But these days, it's the other way around. People confuse King for me.
King,
like it happened at GoFest. It happened at GoFest in New York too. I wasn't there, but someone like, like a big fan of you, Caleb, and stuff like that. Can we do a battle and stuff? And then of course, I heard about this shortly after, and then King's like, yeah, sure, I don't mind battling, but like I'm not Caleb actually.
No,
I think it was like I'm King or whatever.
He should just battled and seen if they noticed like the trainer name when he added like sent the battle request.
Well, that's the thing, right? They battle and it says King IV when they're battling, and then after a battle, he goes like, "Good games, Caleb. Good games."
What?
Like what? Like, we just had this conversation.
Are you like the most confused person like across the thing? Because like apparently everyone looks like you.
People thought you were me.
Oh
people thought King was me. I forgot who else someone thought was me.
But, so all I'm hearing is you need to get a permanent makeover so you can look like Aaron Zhang again.
Maybe I just need to get like a massive like neck tattoo or something that really distinguished me.
A face tattoo.
Yeah, a face tattoo. But I don't know.
The Bastidon, like right on the cheek,
Yeah, that's I can't be doing that.
the true call sign, like the Bastidon.
Yeah, I don't know. But so like when I was at the table, a lot of times, so I try to introduce King to people because I was like, anyone that knows me knows King, right? So it's like, oh, Gail, nice to meet you. And because King's also lost so much weight, a lot of people probably don't recognize him. But I'm just like, oh, and I was like, oh, King too, right? And they're like, oh yeah, King, right? Like pretty much everyone that knew me knew him. But when I was coaching with Polly at GoFest in New York, I was like, people might not know, right? So they go up to me and if I was like, oh, like this is the other coach, Palmer's up, do you know, right? And a lot of people, I kid you not, were just like the courtesy, like, oh yeah, hey, Palmer's up, but they didn't actually know, because like, or some people will be waiting in line, and Polly's like, oh, like, can I help you with something? Like, oh no, I just want to speak to Caleb, because like I was talking to someone else, so like they just want to introduce themselves to me, so I was just like still talking, and so Polly's like just like trying to make small talk with the person, and they'll look at his badge and say content creator, which all the coaches have, and they're like, "Oh, you're a content creator too? Like, do you like make videos or what do you do?" And then Polly's like, "Well, I make some like graphics and stuff.
I
and, like,
used to make
GPL
some graphics, but I
Yeah,
took like a month or two off.
Yeah, he's been chilling a little bit lately, but it's like I make some GBL graphics and PP graphics, and you could tell Polly's like, yeah, you could tell they're just being polite because they just gave the generic shots like, oh yeah, those are cool graphics and stuff. Yeah, thank you for your work.
Oh yeah.
Hey man, all I'm saying, everything went downhill since CEO Anacor disappeared. Dracovic was slacking.
For real, yeah. I don't know where he's at. I was looking at his Instagram story, and he was looking like he was on some like remote like retreat or something. I don't know where he's at.
Is he already in Hawaii?
No, he's not, because he's staying with me for like a weekend before Hawaii, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
Wait, are you guys in that boxing match?
Maybe we should. Wait, actually, I have a question, Steve. When are you going to Hawaii? When are you flying in?
I think I fly in Australia Monday, so I land on Monday.
Monday, okay. Yeah. And Tristan, when do you fly in?
I think I get in on Tuesday.
Okay, and then Cass, you'll be free right beforehand too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I recall you saying you're not attending. So what if we record with Anacor at my place? Because he's here. Maybe we can have him for the draft. Maybe we can have him for the draft. Yeah. We'll just have to squeeze and like share the mic. But maybe we can have him as in Oh wait, I don't know if I told people this, but it's fine. I don't mind sharing it. But our plan is before Worlds, the four of us, and then maybe a special guest or two will join us, and we're gonna draft players for Worlds, and we'll create with some point system on how that goes. Maybe we did talk about this in a previous episode. I'm not sure, but anyway, we're going to draft players, and then based on how they perform at Worlds, see like who drafted like the best team, essentially, right? Maybe we should bring in Anacor because you know he's gonna pick all these like random like smaller name players that he thinks are the best in the world, and he's either going to hit the gold mine.
Here's the only thing though. We have to like limit how long he can talk about each of his picks. He's going to be talking for like 20 minutes about, this pick got like 12th place in this obscure grassroots format, and this person.
Yeah, they went undefeated in this 3-round tournament. But the good part is if he's here, I can just grab the mic from him. Like, all right, you're down. Let's enough yammering. We're gonna keep it going.
Wait, I have a question. Wait, did Anacor comment yet? By the way. Because he told us he'd be listening and commenting, and he lied to us.
Yeah. No, I don't know where this guy is right now. He seems like he's stuck in the Bermuda Triangle. Like, I haven't heard from him in a while. But
oh my gosh.
Respond to my DMs, Anacor. I'm waiting.
I think a lot of on to any DMs. So
everyone's waiting for his responses.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna come back to Discord with like 200 DMs. It's like,
yeah. But who will be clown this new group? See, the thing Greasy Cuisine that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ease them in, right? This first bet is like jelly bean, right? The next bet, it's like you gotta progressively amp it up, right? And soon enough, it might be like everyone but the winner has to dress up as a clown. We'll have like 3 clowns. Let's see, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Steve responded, "Who are you people?" As a comment. Kawaii says, "Let's go, Steve." Seems like a big fan.
Let's go.
I saw Kawaii actually. If this is the same person, I saw them actually at GoFest as well too, which is really cool. They I'm not sure though. If it's the same
I have my
or not.
doubts.
Is this person from Australia or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was just another Kawaii person then. Yeah. Ma Davis says, in terms of accessibility, I do very little raiding for Master League Pokemon anymore. The remote raid nerf has made it so even if you want to raid in person in a rural community, it is hard to get a group because people aren't remote raiding to the same degree any longer. This makes the 296 XLs needed too big a barrier to overcome, so I stopped even trying. The Rare Candy XL drop rate is so low that the rewards for raiding don't make the time commitment worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of that. I usually have to work evenings, and a lot of times I'm working on Wednesdays during raid hour, and so like it used to be that like I could like take a lunch break and go raid for like half an hour and like just send a, because like I'm on my own, right? But I could get enough remote raiders to help me fill out a lobby and beat the raid boss. But like now, no one's interested in remote raiding, so I just have to like pass on most raid hours because I just don't have anyone to help me beat the mons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like it's a limitation because you have limited remote raids you can do, but also everyone else has limited. So the people that you usually raid with just they cap faster. So
right, and especially if you're in a later time zone, like being on the West Coast, like if it's a good raid boss, like everyone's already used their remote raid passes for the day by the time it gets to West Coast.
So wait, I'm not going to be able to finish this research.
Why?
in this thingo, because I can't. You can only do 3 remote raids.
No,
they lifted the remote raid limit. I think
it's normally Steve. It's
wait,
normally no. Steve, the normal limit is 5. Steve, the normal limit is 5. So they lifted it.
The more Steve talks, the more people realize, wow, this guy really doesn't raid.
I have never been close to that limit.
Yeah.
Seems like maybe I hit the limit.
And I feel you, Mark Davis. Those nerves to raids.
He's like, maybe in the course of the year I'll get to that limit of 3. Oh wait, it's 5. Give me 2 years and I'll get there.
Hey, look, I'm working on it. I'm working on
it. Gets rated, yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, right? Is not only is it limiting like you from doing remote raids, but it limits you from getting that remote raid support, which can sometimes be important for certain players to be able to finish raids. So it's unfortunate because it has this added drawback of limiting people from being able to raid in person as well, because some people might be able to go out on their own or with like 1 or 2 others, but might not have enough firepower to beat it on their own and need that remote help, which isn't going to be there now anymore.
Do we think that they're ever going to bring it back, like unlimited remote rates, like permanently?
Nah,
I doubt it. I mean, it's gone this far and they haven't, but who knows?
Which is really unfortunate because like Pokemon Go has always encouraged us to like go to their events and to make new friends with people all over the world, right? So now that I've done that, why is my reward to not be able to raid with those people?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, Niantic is like, wanting to push, community and like interacting with other players. And it's like, I feel like the online like global community is just as valid as any in-person community, but basically got kind of gutted with those remote raid changes. But yeah, it's been this long. I don't see them turning it back unless it's one of those like, there's like fire extinguishers behind the glass. It's like break in case of emergency. Like, maybe if Niantic's profits are really taking a plummet, they'll like break open that glass and release it back. But it might be a little late by then.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand like how like to the extent that people were taking advantage of that system. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like I was never incentivized to sit there and like necessarily raid all day. But I guess that's what they were worried about is like people just, breaking the system that way. But I'm like, no, I just wanted to raid with my friends, like who don't live near me.
Right. And I feel like there's other ways they could have accomplished that. Like instead of limiting it to like 5 raids a day, I don't know, like 20 or 30 would make it so you can't just endlessly remote raid all day, but give people more ability to do so.
Yeah.
And I think the bigger thing is just providing more incentives for in-person raiding. Like obviously having the rare XL there is something, but like bump that up. Like having some of these, a lot of the stuff they're doing with the community ambassadors are starting to encourage that more. Because like I said, like I think you can check in sometimes and get 2 free raid passes or a free incense or something, right? So like there's some rewards for attending some of these meetups and checking in on Campfire. So like that's another way to incentivize the sort of gameplay you want. Like just you don't need that like stick punishment approach. Just make the in-person rewards good enough that people are heavily incentivized to raid in person, but then people who aren't able to for whatever reason don't have to miss out because they can still raid remotely.
I think the thing is also if like I think the standard should be if you can't remote raid for the week of like a legendary, if you can't remote raid 296 XLs, then I think the limit's probably too low. Because there's some people that legit they're like, well, why don't you just go out and do it? But like there's some people that legit don't have any gyms near them that they could even go and do raids with, or there's no one local to them that could even do the raids with them. So because I agree, like with Mod Davis, it's really tough to get to 296. Like most of the XLs I get, like if I could power up a legendary with 296, it's like their third or fourth time in rotation, and I'm like, oh, I finally have enough. Or if it's like at GoFest where they like exponentially increase the amount of XLs you get per raid.
Yeah.
Which is a big reason why I was just raiding a bunch of like Buzzwole and random other Ultra Beasts at New York too, because I was like, man, this is probably the best, most efficient way for me to get XLs for this. If I want to power it up in the future.
Okay, yeah, but Niantic doesn't actually want us to get 296 in one sitting. Like their whole sort of thought process is that they want it to be a forever game. They want it to be more of a grind. Like I think Michael Steranko was talking about that. I don't know if it was on this podcast or
another one.
He was talking to Zoe maybe, but he was talking about how like they don't want 296 XLs to be super easy to get. They do want to have it take longer time, so it's a bit more of a longer term project. So like, I don't know if they want to encourage that necessarily.
Yeah, I get that too, but at the same time, just like, I mean, I ain't trying to be like a forever. I can't use a Dialga Origin game either, I can in Mass League, so it's kind of weird. But Ryan Colgrove says, love the new dynamic, lots of friendly, familiar faces and new segments. Still maintain, why are we gatekeeping more people from participating in these events? The new system continues to benefit the top percentage of, this is talking about like the championship series. The new system continues to benefit the top percentage of battlers who can afford to do extensive travel. Also, to nerf locals for what? Have less people play them, less people engage with their IP and travel to these events, because maybe that was the only pathway to actually qualify for some. I know I'm very blessed in NA myself to have so many tournament options that in theory I could attend. Not everyone has that benefit, as we know, and the lack of Swiss as on top of that. And now let down with the announcement, in my opinion. I think we should see a drop. We will see a drop in participation this season instead of an increase. I do hope I'm wrong, though. Yeah, definitely interesting perspective too. I actually think the participation will be probably higher though, based on how this works, because especially on the international level, but I think even on the regional level, there's going to be like more of an urgency, I think, to attend these in-person events.
I mean, probably, but actually in Australia, and this has been the case on both the East Coast and the West Coast, hearing from, again, Debbie Pebble, who I think I mentioned last week is sort of, or maybe the week before, is really crushing it on the local scene. Participation seemingly across the country in locals is down. And not only is participation down, but also like the amount of stores hosting is also actually going down across the board.
I don't know
if it's a different issue, but like participation is sort of.
I don't know if looking at the summer months is the best gauge of participation.
It's winter here, but anyway.
Looking at the months after NAIC before Worlds, we'll say that, because like a lot of people like aren't really thinking new season yet. They're still focused on this current season, and so like going out to locals might not be on their mind. They're probably looking more ahead towards Worlds, and some stores might be wanting to take a little break or something. So like I think it's definitely possible that it will be down across the board, but I think we should wait until September, October, November to see what the numbers look like then.
Yeah.
Because I just think that in general, the like June, July, August section numbers at locals will be down across the board, just regardless from all the games, no matter the system. It's sort of more of a downtime for the most part.
I mean, it might be different for you guys, because like in North America, obviously there's way more qualifiers than in the Oceanic region. But like most people that are attending locals weren't Worlds qualified folks around here. So it's not like Worlds actually holds the same, like Honolulu holds the same significance to them. But, like maybe you're right, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah. But again, there's just not as much of a focus on it, I think. Like, because around here, I mean, again, there's only a couple. I think there's 5 Worlds qualifiers from Washington State, like me, Zimmy Kid, Rubik's Master, Mutix, and Adib. So like we had a lot of local players who weren't qualified, who weren't necessarily even pushing for it. But I just don't know if they'll be looking for events during this time, especially because summertime here is when a lot of people travel. You have Go Fests and stuff too. Like there's just a lot of other things going on. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I think looking what the fall looks like is going to be the bigger indicator, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think yeah, we'll see how that goes too. I do think it's an interesting point that RC brought up, and I don't really understand this either. So them reducing the best finish limit for locals, so reducing the amount that can count towards your championship points, is kind of weird because like the whole point of, I feel like most of the feedback on the reducing the strength of locals was for this year, because it was like oh, once you hit this threshold you're good, and for some regions you just literally could just play locals and qualify for worlds, right? But now they do a top like percentage of players qualified regardless of how many points you have. I feel like you should just keep locals how they were before, because like who cares if there's more points there? Everyone's guaranteed, like everyone has. It doesn't matter if you get like 390 points from locals. It doesn't qualify for your worlds automatically anyway, because it's still like a percentage based thing now too, right?
I mean, maybe it's a balancing thing though, right? Because it's like being aware that some regions, like even like just areas, do or don't have locals readily available to them, and
that's true.
some places, like I mean, some places have tons of locals, and other places only have one shop that hosts it, and it's just like if some areas it's easy to get the full 390 because you have so many opportunities that like you can go to like 12 cups and 12 challenges, and you just need to get first place on like half the ones you go to or something, like versus other people who might not even get 6 cups in their area in a year. Like it might be a little bit of trying to balance that a little bit, because it is top X points, so like you're competing with all the other people in your region, and if you're in an area without locals, it's going to be harder to keep up with the people who are able to max out their locals because they have so many. So
yeah,
like
that's a fair point too.
Drawing that back just a little bit so that locals are still relevant, they still play an impact, people are still encouraged to go, but you don't have such a massive advantage if you have a lot of locals in your area. That's my guess, because like I mean, I know like I qualified this year, and like a good chunk of my points were from locals. Like I think I got like maybe like 618 points total, and probably about, I don't remember, like 300 to 350 range was from locals. So probably about at least half my points are from locals. Like that's a pretty significant chunk of points, all things considered.
Yeah, that's true too. I don't know. It's kind of tough to satisfy everyone in this regard, but Swiss just ain't happening for this year. I know a lot of people are asking for it too. I mean, again, like I'm not opposed to it. I think my biggest concern with Swiss right now is like the network issues. Right, Kat, what are you doing? Kat's just climbing all over my table. But
yeah, I think that's the concern for a lot of people is like we want Swiss just because it feels like you get more out of your participation, like for the cost of entry, cost of travel, everything. But at the same time, you don't want that experience to be awful.
Yeah.
And the experience at some of the tournaments, like ones I've gone to even so far, has like been awful sometimes. I remember Charlotte last year, like I was sitting at a table like looking at my opponent for like
I heard the Charlotte
2
connection
hours.
was not good. Yeah.
It was bad, you know? And granted, I feel like they did a lot better this year, but there were still issues evident at the tables and on stream.
Well, so that's an important factor, because if you're staring at your opponent for 2 hours, everyone else has to stare at their opponent for 2 hours too, because they have to wait for you all to finish or progress, right?
Yeah, Caleb,
so
that LA challenge on Friday, how long did that take again? Do you remember?
Oh my god!
Oh, it took a while. One of the rounds itself was over an hour. I wasn't even playing in it, but I was just chatting with like King and some other people. I was just like, wait, what's going on? They're still on the same round. Like it's round 2 right now. Like the venue was closing. The venue was pretty much closing before it was even wrapped up. Like Top Cut was finished.
Yeah, because I
Like
think
the judges literally asking players like, "Hey, do you all want to do Top Cut tomorrow or like on Sunday or something, or do you all want to do it now?" Because they're closing the venue soon. Which, yeah, but that's a whole separate issue that I know some people are like, well, Niantic just fixed that or TPS should fix that. I was like, I get you. I'm not saying like that shouldn't be fixed, but like the reality is
I think the pattern we're seeing is that they're trying to make incremental changes, to like the point system and locals and to the way that these tournaments operate. Like I think they're working on it. It's slow, and a lot of people there's no transparency, absolutely none. So a lot of people are just kind of like end up feeling frustrated. Right. So I mean, I'm with you there, but at the same time, it's like I want to make sure that it's done right whenever we are knowingly going to have to devote all the time that Swiss requires.
Yeah, because again, it's just like instead of double elim where like things keep moving at a fast pace for the most part, like we said, if there's even one pair that's having issues or disputes, that holds up everybody. And so you could be
stream as well too. I will say if you ever watch VGC and TCG streams, so much downtime. They're literally playing like Pictionary on stream. or like different like Nintendo games. Like I kid you not, because they had to kill time because they're waiting for the round to wrap up, right?
Yeah.
Right, and those games don't even have the same level. Obviously, their rounds take longer in general, but they don't have the same amount of technical issues and disputes and stuff that we have that can drag on. And it's like, so definitely like the networking capabilities are a big one. Having enough devices is a big one, and iPhones ain't cheap, guys. Like,
true. I just bought one.
And the other thing is having enough staff, right?
Yeah.
Because for double elim, like you can probably get away with a little less staff because as long as you can make it through the first couple rounds, the number of players starts dropping every round. But if you're having 256 people for what is it, like 8 or 9 rounds, you have to have enough staff to support that for the entire time. And if also everyone's playing at the same time, right? Double elim, people are staggered when they're playing. Swiss, everyone's at the same time. So even if the same number of people are playing, Swiss is going to potentially have more simultaneous disputes, which means you're going to need more judges there. And if you don't have enough judges to cover all the disputes, then some disputes are waiting for the other ones to get resolved first before they have someone look at it, and that causes it to drag on even longer. And then everyone's waiting around for an hour, hour and a half maybe, because there's not enough staff. And it's just like, it's getting better. There's a lot more people that are becoming judges and going to tournaments and getting involved, which is great, but I don't know if we necessarily have the staffing capability to fully staff tournaments at all of the regionals right now.
Something I would love to see on the regional level more, and we have this as ICs right now, or at least for the past 2, is that they'll have like call times that they'll email to the players ahead of time. So let's say like, oh, I'm in group like F or something, right? Out of, all these groups. They'll email me and say like, hey, like show up to the venue at like 11 or 1 p.m. or something instead of like 9 a.m. Because for regionals right now, everyone just shows up at like 9 or 8:30 or something. And you're just like in the last group and you're waiting all day to even start your first round. Whereas the ICs, they've been really good about starting the later groups at a later time so that not everyone has to wake up early and show up, right? And it's a huge time save too. Obviously, that's not possible with Swiss, right? But with double elim, like that is one adjustment I'd like them to do possibly. I don't know if it's just harder to do on the regional level or just more work, but like the fact that they are able to do it for the IC level makes me believe that it should be very feasible for the regional level too.
Could be wrong, but I think they started doing that at a few of the European regionals recently. So
did they? Okay.
I don't know for sure. If any of our European listeners can let us know for sure, but I thought they might have been doing that, and it's like, if that's the case, it might just be a new thing that they've just started trying out, and maybe hopefully it'll start becoming more common across the board going forward. But I do agree that's been a really nice change. I was only joking with some people that I wish we already had our call times for Worlds so I could know when to book a Pokemon Center reservation. I was like, that Friday 9 a.m. looks real good if I'm not in one of those early groups, but I don't know if I want to take that chance.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was some news we found out recently too, is that competitors there's no competitor slot for Worlds. It's just everyone books. Honestly though, as someone that went to the competitor slot last year at Yokohama, dude, that competitor slot was a mess because it was like hundreds of people, maybe over 1,000 plus people, because it was all the competitors, and then each competitor could bring 2 or 3 guests with them. So it was just like going into the Pokemon Center as like the general public, and I didn't buy really anything either because I had a earlier session with the casters, and like even then most of the stuff was gone because like the influencer / media group really snagged up all the good stuff. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you were part of that. The pins, the Yokohama like exclusive Paldean starter pins were all gone, right? Because there was no limit on that.
I'm gonna send to Steve like a laundry list of everything I want to get for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, we'll start sending you our shopping list in the comments.
I might go to the same spot as all those messages about the remote raids. We'll see. If there is something you do desperately want, then maybe send
if they did tell you, are you allowed to share with us when your time slot is for the media group?
I'm gonna assume that I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable.
Probably safer that way.
Yeah, let's not get anyone in trouble here.
Let's play it safe, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, we want Steve to be able to get all the things we want.
Exactly. Right, we need to exploit this relationship somehow. Let's,
okay, Ivy Pip says, great new format, everyone. I'm looking forward to many great episodes in the future. Regarding potential move updates, something I thought might be interesting are effects that disrupt current strategies. For example, Nightshade or a hypothetical seismic toss, which would deal damage according to its power, regardless of buffs and debuffs at play, or moves that clear stat changes or similar abilities to do the same. What does that mean?
So he's saying, I think he's saying two things. He's saying, so right now, like say you get your attack dropped by like what, Moonblast or something, right?
Oh, he's saying like a fixed rate damage regardless of what it is.
Right, so he's saying even if your attack has been dropped, maybe you can do, like, you would ignore that when dealing damage with maybe your charge move or something. So like maybe
based on the move. Yeah.
Right, so maybe a specific charge move like Nightshade, even if your attack is debuffed, you're still doing full damage.
Yeah, because there are several moves in the main series game that are structured like that. Like this does this amount of damage all the time,
regardless. Is like Hyper Beam one of them or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Right, and
things like Swift, I think.
Oh, okay.
And that could be interesting too, right? Because I don't know if anything knows this combo, but like if you had a move like Superpower, right, you could throw a Superpower and debuff yourself, but the attack debuff wouldn't matter on your Nightshade move, right? Yeah. So it would add a lot more interesting strategies and dynamics. Mm-hmm. And then his other idea, I think he was saying maybe a charge move that could clear your debuffs. So you could throw a Superpower, a Close Combat, or a Wild Charge, and maybe you double up and you throw Wild Charge and then you throw Nightshade or whatever to clear that debuff. So you're doing that heavy hitting move, but then you don't have the negatives because you're using this special charge attack. Like
I see. Would the attack do the same amount of damage regardless of Pokemon? So let's say Nightshade from a Gengar and Nightshade from a Snorlax. Would they do the same fixed rate damage, or would the Gengar still hit harder because it has more attack?
It would be the same numerical value of damage. But like I've always been a big supporter, and I guess one of my biggest complaints about Pokemon Go PvP is that when you compare it to like VGC and TCG, I watched like, Wolf Glick's videos, and it's like, there's like really 6 strategies you can cook up, and it's like you can be so creative and you can do these unique things that people haven't thought about and sort of break the meta in that way. When in Pokemon Go PvP, I mean, like, you can bring a Wailmer and they might not know the counts of Wailmer, and like that's
not it. That does it for our YouTube comments, and now we have Cass's Corner. Score 0-0-1.
Debate asterisk. We haven't seen the comments of last week's episode.
Let's check the comments. There are none.
This is there's Kaz's corner, not the YouTube comments corner. So
listen, I told you what I thought yesterday, but we'll see. We'll see if the comments come to Steve's defense.
If you're so good at this, Steve, just get points elsewhere. You know, get it the following week, like now.
Yeah, try for some locals.
Yeah.
All right, so I have finally moved on from birds. Okay. So this week we have some trivia about the Bonsweet family, Bonsweet, Stini, and Zarina. So the question is, while Zarina is clearly known for her kicks, how do her pre-evolutions, Stini and Bonsweet, prefer to attack their opponents?
Okay. I have a guess. Mm-hmm. Are we going to do the same thing where we like...
This is in the Pokedex in Pokemon Go, so it's readily available to you.
Wait, I have a clarification question, and you could choose not to answer if you think it gives too much away. Does Bonsweet and Stini, the second form evolution, do they both attack the same way, or they both don't kick, but they both attack differently too?
No. They don't kick, but they do both prefer the same form of attacking.
Okay. All right.
So you got to think about what they have in common. And yes, I think it'll work best if we do it the way we did for our previous recording.
Okay, we just type it out.
Okay.
Yeah, type it out.
Can I just Google what it looks like? Is that?
I don't know. Is that cheating? Can you Google it?
Just give it the nod. Okay, I'm looking up what it looks like.
You can Google a picture of Stini and Bonsweet.
Got a picture of the three of them.
So now type into our Discord chat what your answer is, and then I will, once everyone is ready, I will say when to hit enter.
Dang, this is tough. They both attack the same way, huh?
Mm-hmm. Again, you can look at a picture.
I think I've got my guess.
Okay, I think I have my guess too.
Hold on. I'm looking at a picture.
All right.
This is really fun, you guys.
The thing is, like, I used to play a bunch of Serena in Pokemon Unite, and when you get it evolved to Serena, you had to play Bonsweet and Stini. And I'm just trying to recall, like, when I'm attacking people with Bonsweet and Stini, how I'm attacking them. Because, like, that's, like, the good chunk of, like, the first 3 minutes of the game is I'm just attacking.
I will also give you the hint that, like, you can, it's visible. Right?
Okay,
like, it's
I need to change my guess.
It's not. This is not something.
Nah, don't change it, Steve. You just go with your first gut feeling. You know, you don't want to second guess yourself.
No. Remember, always go with 1,000.
Yeah. For real. All right.
Okay, I've got my new guess that I don't like as much, but
let's go in 3, 2, 1, enter. Okay, I like Kaz.
Okay. So the answers are: Caleb says they attack with the leaves on their head. Steve's answer was they try to trap them with their grass head thing.
Trap.
Yeah, I was thinking like they sort of look like scoops.
And then Tuastel said with their heads/petals.
That sounds like two answers to me.
So you all did kind of answer the same way, and that is the correct answer. They attack with their leafy sepals on their heads.
I want to know what Steve's previous
I don't know. Steve's talking about trapping them. Those little, they trap them with their grass head thingies.
Yeah.
If Cass says you get a point for that one, I'll give you a point. But
I think you've all earned a point this week.
I think we should ask YouTube if Steve gets the point.
No. Okay, hang on. Okay,
that's true.
If we listen to YouTube on this one, we listen to YouTube
trap
on the last one.
You don't even know what they said on the last one. They might have also like.
No, I'm confident.
I know. Yeah.
Steve, I checked the YouTube comments on the last one. They didn't say anything.
What?
So for the fun facts to go along with our Bonsweet feature this week, the Pokemon family, they're clearly based on the mangosteen fruit, right? They look almost exactly the same with like the leafy greens on top, and they've got like a purple body and then like the white fruit out the bottom.
Yeah.
But the reason that the Bonsweet family is likely all female is because mangosteen is known as the queen of fruits.
Oh,
likely from the legend that Queen Victoria, when mangosteen was first discovered in Southeast Asia and reported back to England, she said that she would knight anyone who brings her a fresh mangosteen. So that's probably why it garnered that nickname, and that's why I think the entire Bonsweet family can only be female.
I'm gonna add a fun fact onto that as well. So in Pokemon Unite, all the Unite moves, so like their ultimate moves for every Pokemon, is like a made up move that doesn't exist in the main series game. So, like for example, like Garchomp's Unite move is called Livid Outrage, which is not like an actual move in Pokemon. But Serena's is Queen Ascendant, actually.
Ooh.
So further adding onto the Queen
amazing
aura. Interesting.
Yeah, this has been an extra informative cast.
Yeah, Serena was super busted when they first released her, and they had to like nerf her twice before she became like unusable. But she was like, even after the first nerf, she was like still just absolutely disgusting. Like nothing could beat her 1v1. But when she was like fully powered up. But all right, let's hop over to the spotlight for APAC. So there's a chance that Tristan has to hop off, so we want to cover our picks, but we're continuing on with the Road to Worlds Spotlight series, and this week we'll be covering APAC, and just like last week, we'll each name off our top pick, and then we also have a dark horse pick as well. So someone to watch out for that might not have as big of a name, but could also make a pretty deep run into Worlds as a way to kind of just introduce people to some of these players if they're not aware of them already. Obviously, a lot of great players in these regions that will not get featured in this. Let's go reverse order, I guess, from yesterday, if that, or from last week's episode. Yeah, last week. So I'll kick things off, and then maybe Cass can hard counter me with my pick. But my pick is going to be Crescent Angels, who has been super consistent within the championship series. So got third place at Worlds last year, got 25th at Worlds, third place at Worlds the first year, 25th place at Worlds in last year's tournament. And so maybe not as far of a run, but there are a lot more people there. But also the only Japanese player to qualify for Worlds 3 times all 3 years. And I believe he's only one of 2 players from APAC in general that have qualified for all 3 years, which is quite an impressive feat because, I mean, Japanese players are super stacked too. He's also hit the GBL leaderboard on first place, like number 1, like multiple times, including any entire season in that first place slot. But yeah, I mean, I think like I would say he is by far the most well-known Japanese player in the circuits, but also arguably the most well-known APAC player in the circuit. So that's going to be
him and Ishikawa Boy, I guess.
Ishikawa Boy makes content, right? But I think Ishikawa Boy also didn't have as much notoriety until last year. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of Japanese players knew him, but like globally, people weren't really aware of him until like he put on the shades and the Bastion on the Big Rock team, right? It was a pretty wild team, but he definitely had some swagger to him. So, but Ishikawa Boy unfortunately did not make it to qualification this time around. But Crescent Angels, super consistent player. So that's gonna be my pick. But let's go to Kaz for her top pick.
So my top pick is actually going to be Fasult 196. A little bit, less known, I would say, than your pick, Caleb, but still top 8 at the PJCS this year. So really strong finish there, and was actually the winner of our Journey to Worlds fundraising tourney. With quite a unique team. We both love watching that Shadow Giraffe rig. So, so it was really a lot of fun casting over that with you, and showed some really strong play. So honestly, I think if we see that same level of play, or no, it wasn't actually. It was Legend Push that had a Shadow Giraffe rig, but we just got to. Yeah. But we still had a fun team from Fasalt with kind of that unique combination of Annihilate and the Shadow Quagsire that I think works really well in the open meta currently. So, so yeah, it was a lot of fun casting over that with you. And again, if we see that same level of play, I think they can make a really deep run into Worlds with the strength of that that fundraising that we got to send them there. So
yeah,
really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's definitely a play to look out for too. All right, let's go with Tristan for
all right.
next top
My top pick is going to be Beelzebub.
Okay.
He won the
not Nava Empire.
No, that's Anacor's pick, guys. If you want to know about Anacor's pick, go back and watch that tier list episode. He talks about,
or like any episode,
he talks about Nava Empire any chance he gets. So I figure we could give a spotlight to someone else because Anacor has sung Nava Empire's praises enough times. You should already know who he is.
You think there's only one Indian player going to Worlds based on how much Anacor talks about Nava Empire? But yeah, go ahead, Beelzebub.
Yeah, so he won the India qualifier this year. He has hit number 1 on the GBL leaderboard once before, and I think like 4 other seasons got in the top 5 on the GBL leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was he on either Pogoats or Body Slammers back in Sylph Factions, I want to say. Is that
He was on Body Slammers, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was on Body Slammers, who was a very strong team. I think he was one of their stronger players as well. Lots of grassroots experience as well. So, I think someone to look out for sure.
Definitely. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, so my top pick is also one of the players who won one of the sort of APAC region playoff qualifier combo wombos, and that was the APAC qualifier / playoffs, and that was Yakai 0904, who won the APAC competition, which is a bit confusing in that it's called APAC, but it's actually just a combination of Hong Kong, Philippines, Singapore, and Malaysia. It's like it's just
wait, what? Oh, right, because they like. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because it's not all of APAC, but it's like but it's
like South Korea
amalgamation of a couple. Yeah,
they needed to give it a name, and APAC seemed like a fair enough name to just squish 4 of them together, I suppose. But is what it is. Anyway, he won the entire APAC region, so we're going off with a good start. But Yakai is Yakai's a really strong player. Like they played in every APAC playoff so far. So in 2022, he came 6th. In 2023, he came 5th. 2024, he's come 1st. He did compete at Worlds last year. Didn't do that well. But it's 1 in 4 people that go to Worlds go 0-2. So it's someone's got to be in those.
That's quite the stat line. Wait, did he qualify for Worlds in that first year?
Yeah, I don't think
just didn't go.
So I'm not sure how many people got to qualify from the 2023 APAC playoffs, because I know in 2024, I think it was only 2 people that qualified from APAC directly. But I don't know if there was a different combination of...
Yeah, so last year they must have more than top 5 qualify, right? Because he qualified last year with 5.
Yeah.
And then, 6th place in 2022, which is still pretty close, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was less because the first year there was just a lot less invites in general. So
yeah.
Then it seems to have gone.
I don't even get how that happened.
2023 to 2024.
I think the data is just a little scuffed because it shows that he lost to one player in round 1 and then won the next 6 rounds and didn't play another round.
Okay, Dracoviz is like really whack when it comes to the APAC tournaments, to be honest.
Okay.
It
showed that he battled BJ 4 times, went 3-1. So something's weird there.
Something's a bit fishy with all of the APAC data. Plus, the 2024 data isn't actually in the player profiles at this stage.
It's not.
So if we can, get that Anacor guy on this thing, we've
for real. Maybe we should bring him on as a guest, and he's going to think like, oh, everyone's going to be missing his stuff, and the whole time we're just interrogating him like, where's this Dracovic update? Where's
the
this?
data?
Yeah.
Where have you been?
My data.
Why won't you respond to me?
Yeah, it's like when a politician thinks it's gonna be a friendly interview, but they're actually questioning them on all their questionable politics and stuff.
I'm ready to throw the tomatoes, but so you Kai, like, obviously, and he's been number one on the Go Battle League leaderboard. He won the Clash of the Champions APAC edition 2 weeks ago now, I guess, from this episode releasing. Took out 3 of the other APAC champions along the way, so
no big deal.
No big deal, but
he's really hyping up your pick. All right. I'm gonna go with my dark horse pick, and this is arguably maybe not even a dark horse pick because they've been around the scene for a while, but I feel like lesser or not as many people notice this player as much, but it's actually gonna be Booty from South Korea, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know about Worlds qualified, but Worlds attending, I think only Booty and Crescent Angels have attended Worlds or will be attending Worlds all 3 years. I think there might be a few people besides these two have qualified for Worlds from APAC all 3 years, but they just didn't attend like in London or whatever. But people can correct me if I'm mistaken here on that. But I believe that out of everyone from APAC, only Crescent Angels and Booty have qualified all 3 years and have attended or will be attending all 3 years. Assuming they both go this year. So
we'll say Booty's Dracovic profile is all sorts of screwed up.
Is it?
Their Worlds run from this past year shows all of their opponents being themselves.
Your own worst enemy. What is going on with that?
And then 2 of their South Korea playoff opponents from last year were shown as themselves as well.
Dracovic, what's going on here? All right, look,
at least you could see something. I tried to look up Dracovic data and just said there are no entries here.
Yeah. We need to get some of those Dracovic people on here and really hold their feet to the fire. What's going on? But yeah, fun. Yeah, that's weird too because this last year's Worlds data should be clean. I mean, the 2022 Worlds data for Booty looks accurate. Lost to Status in round 1, beat King, beat Averett, beat Gobius, and then lost to Dancing Rob. That's actually quite a streak of players that they face.
They got 13th.
13th at Worlds in 2022. And I don't recall what Booty placed to qualify for Worlds because I think that first year Worlds was like everyone besides like Japanese players just were in this giant online APAC tournament, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
So I don't really recall how Booty placed there, but got second in the playoffs last year for South Korea. And this data is scuffed too. It shows that one of his losses is himself, and he beats himself later.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Booty is. See, this is why people don't know about Booty because Booty's just like only facing himself. Like minimal data.
So the weird thing with Dracovic is for the Worlds data. If you go to their Worlds page and search Booty, you can see who his actual opponents were. But if you go to his player profile, it shows it being himself.
Okay,
I don't know what they did.
Only the Asian players have this on their profiles. So it's something about the Asian tournaments that is messing up their other data. So.
Something's wild.
I don't know.
But last year, Booty beat House Stark and lost to Auburn and J Mills after faced only NA players. It's kind of wild.
NA best region.
No. Maybe.
Oh, he just said no. You've heard it here first, folks. Caleb just said that North America is
what I was
not
going to say
the
at
best.
first. No, what I was going to say is everyone here is supporting NA. Then I realized, oh wait, no, not Steve. But now next year, everyone's going to complain that NA just has more spots. So that's going to be why. Yeah.
Hey, no, Steve's going to be supporting NA so that they can beat all the Aussies, so he can be higher on that Australian leaderboard.
NAIC.
That is.
Go Americans.
That is a strat.
He's going to beg some Americans to travel to Australian regionals just to knock some other people down a peg.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be casting this thing. Can you guys come in and take some points? Thanks.
Dunebug, you want a flight over? I got you, bro.
Here's a travel award, man.
But yeah, Booty qualified again this year and got 4th place in the South Korea playoffs, which was the top 4 that made to Worlds this year, or was it like
for
Korea?
APAC? For Korea, I think it was 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so just snuck through there, which is, but yeah, quite the run there as well. And getting eliminated by the first place finisher Goji. So, anyway. Bucci's going to be my pick, which arguably probably isn't a dark horse pick, but I said if no one's going to pick him, then
I almost picked him. I was between him and Beelzebub.
Yeah,
that was a tough one.
Yeah. Kaz, who's your dark horse pick?
So my dark horse pick will be Charming Chinda,
okay.
who did also qualify last year, but once again, Dracovic, I cannot seem to find the data. Like, it's like Charming Chinda has a profile, but it doesn't show anything about Worlds last year, and it just is driving me
that's
nuts.
weird.
But what I do know is they came in 3rd at the South Korea tournament special this year, which was their main qualifier. So and they were also a part of the Journey to Worlds stream. Didn't do quite as well there, but still really strong gameplay. And I do know for a fact from that stream that Charming Chinda was the one that knocked Rise to Occasion out of Worlds. So, I mean, we know there's some possibility there. So I look forward to seeing more on the stream this year.
So Charming Chinda, I believe, had a different username. I think that's what it was.
Oh, that's
probably.
Right.
I think that's what it was. So I don't remember what their old username was.
Just look at Rice's World's record and see who he lost to.
Oh, so he lost to Kindness Dark, and
I think that was it. I think that's what he said. Yeah,
Kindness Dark. He lost to Kindness Dark and something else, someone else.
Well, I mean,
yeah. So if you look up Kindness Dark, Kindness Dark was going to be the data, but I think they placed 13th or 17th last year. Yeah.
Okay.
So 17th last year. Yeah, beat Rise. So. Oh wait, Charming Chinda is Yetaruna's brother, I think.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
That is accurate.
Yeah. Because I remember the siblings faced off against Worlds round 1.
Oh right.
And then, so Charming Chinda beat Rise, beat Yetaruna, beat Rise, then lost to Rick Flareon, beat Steiner, beat Gabriel Yova, and then lost to Auburn. So
that was a bit of a gauntlet there.
I mean, I feel like Worlds last year was probably one of the strongest competitions in general.
So it looks like they got 5th in the South Korea playoffs last year and then 17th at Worlds.
Yeah. The data looks super scuffed as always. Lost to himself twice, then lost to his sister, then beat himself.
Just super casually.
Yeah. That looks like one of those local cups we see in some smaller towns, Hey, it's just me and my brother playing in the cups.
Listen, APAC, the point is we're trying, okay? We're trying our best.
We need Dracovic to try too. Come on.
Yeah, so Kindness Dark 7 last year will be Charming Chinda this year, and that would be my dark horse pick because, obviously they have, despite what the player profile might currently say, they do have a really strong performance record in the tournaments they attend, and it runs in the family because we've got the sister qualifying last year as well. So very cool story there, and that's my pick.
All right. What about you, Tristan?
All right, my pick is Shinlena.
Okay.
They've been running some Gudra for a while, and now it's got Thunder Punch, so I think they're ready to cook with Thunder Punch Gudra at Worlds potentially. I played them in Battle.
They played actually in the APAC tournament, but the Road to Worlds thing, or Journey to Worlds tournament. But they were running the old Gudra, not Thunder Punch.
Yeah, they were running. Aquatail Power Whip.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
But I was gonna say I played them in Battle Frontier. They're quite a strong player. They beat me 2-1, almost 3-0'd me. So,
but they stopped tapping. Can't stop tapping, Shinlena. If you want to win Worlds, keep tapping.
Yeah, you just keep tapping, and you'll prove me right. Okay. But I think they're a good player. Have had a bit of mixed results, but I think they're a strong player, and I think if they get on a hot streak, they could make a good run.
Yeah, almost won the APAC qualifier too, but only losing to Yakai, I believe.
Yeah, which I think you can watch those battles on Rise to Occasions channel. They're out there.
Gotcha.
So it's definitely some pretty sick stuff. I actually met Shinlena at Perth Regionals. They just happened to be in town. And so it's like, oh, well, I'm
Were
here.
they visiting Australia?
Yeah, I think he was here for a wedding or something like that.
Oh,
in
so Perth?
Yeah, so it's just like,
incredulous, Caleb.
You might.
Well, no.
You don't think people in Perth get married? Like, what?
No, not that. But even the Australians aren't willing to fly to Perth. I was like, that's your own country. I'm like, it's like they're Peoria almost, right? I was like, is it that bad? Like, I was just like, you only have three. Like, I'm just thinking, you only got 3 regionals. Why wouldn't you just go to all 3 and be like, I don't know if I wanted to fly all the way to Perth. I'm like, what's wrong with Perth?
Hey, I don't know. You might see Shinlena at Perth again next year. You never know.
Yeah, I never
going
been
for that auto invite to Worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got another friend's wedding there.
He's like, hey, I've got some friends in Perth. Do you guys want to get married?
What are the odds of that too? It's not like there's so many regionals at Perth, right? Like the odds of like being in town, in Perth, and then also at the Perth region. That's wild.
Yeah, hey, wasn't El Calvissimo at one of the Australian regionals?
Yeah, Perth as well.
He was there for like a work trip or something.
It's more popular than you think.
It's not me. I never heard anything about it until the Australians told me that no one goes there.
I will say, Perth is like a mining town, and very much it's a bit of a fly in, fly out sort of. And it's a fly out state.
It's not me. They can't say, this is the narrative I hear from these Aussies, right? So that's why I'm thinking like,
hey,
Caleb's like, do you see what I work?
Hey, some of these players are just mining for points, you know?
Yeah, for real.
This is me putting out East Australian propaganda against West Australia. That's all this is.
Yeah, but okay. Well, what's your dark horse pick, Steve?
Yeah, okay. So my dark horse pick is Nava Empire. No, wait. It's actually as Lingo or Lingo. Like, I really liked the name Lingu, but apparently that's not what they go by. But
it's OO.
Yeah,
Lingo.
So I think it's just like, to look cool. Like, how like, gaming names 15 years ago were XX name XX. I think it's like the same deal, but now it's just
Rubik's Master still does that. So
and second place at Worlds. So
X and O's.
Yeah, X and O's. They're playing noughts and crosses with their usernames here. So
tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, exactly. Wait. That's the same game. We call it noughts and crosses, I think.
You call it what? Knots and crosses?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? You guys really are a little in down under. What are you guys doing down there?
Naught, 0, same word. Crosses. It's about as simple as you can get. It's like, what's
it'd be funnier if they did tic-tac-toe, but like their X's were O's and their O's were X's. That would be the true Australian way.
I don't know. Or maybe that is the case. Who's to say? The toilet goes the other way and our X's are O's.
Wait, which one goes first?
It doesn't. I think you can pick whatever. I don't know that there's a rule.
I thought X's normally went first, but
I think so too. But I'm actually not sure. But I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. It just doesn't really matter, does it?
No. So speaking of O's, so what's Lingo? Did Lingo play in past years or?
So it's again, Drakov is impossible to find data on their actual player profile. Literally has nothing on there. But I did some digging. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the PJCS data. And essentially, like this year, they've qualified for Worlds from a top 12 placement in PJCS, which not as glamorous as like a top 5 or a top 6 that some of these other famous would sort of manage. But top 16 in PJCS qualify for Worlds. The reason that they've sort of hit the dark horse spotlight is for one reason and one reason only, and that is because, well, it's the same reason twice. They qualified in the PJCS using Empoleon, Shadow Empoleon. And so I think is the only person in the world to qualify for Worlds with Empoleon, which is sick.
If I don't see that penguin at Worlds, I'm going to be so disappointed.
And so, obviously,
meta, not too bad.
especially, or maybe if they're running Power Whip, it's actually better. I don't know, but
it's not too. If Quagsire is the water of or the mud boy of choice too, that's actually not too bad as well because you at least resist all the charge attacks. I mean, Aquatail still hurts, but
if they're running Aquatail Stone Edge, then
yeah. If they're running Mud Bomb, you're in some trouble. But also did run Empoleon in the Journey to Worlds tournament, and ended up coming second in that tournament with the Empoleon team.
Again, if I don't see this penguin at Worlds, so disappointed.
Lingo, we're going to be on your side until you don't run that Empoleon, and then we're all going to be disappointed. So just keep.
And then Steve's gonna
mad. Yeah, if you don't mad, just disappointed.
If you don't run that Empoleon, Steve's gonna drop you for Nava Empire.
True.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no one picked up Nava Empire.
Anacor did. I'm telling you.
In spirit.
Nava Empire for sure is not a dark horse pick because Anacor's already talked about him enough that everyone knows him.
The most discussed APAC player of all time, just based on Anacor. Although I will say, just for confusion's sake, like the APAC word does technically include Australia, New Zealand, but obviously, for our purposes, we're excluding them as the Oceanic region's special. It's like every time that Caleb was like, only 2 people in APAC that have qualified for all 3 worlds, I was kind of like, well, I mean, technically,
we gotta stretch the content, Steve.
We're trying.
I think Nava Empire will also be a strong contender at Worlds, but I think part of it too is just wanting to spotlight some other people. Again, Anacor's talked about him so much. He's had more spotlight than most other players in the world.
We get it.
So just wanted to, shine some light on some other people from APAC that'll be
what we should do? We should I know we're gonna have our own draft stuff down the road for a future episode. But we should also see like which person's top pick and which person's dark horse pick makes it the furthest. Just like as a separate thing with us.
That'll be our post Worlds episode.
Post Worlds episode. So we'll see how it goes. But cool. Well, these are some players to watch out for in APAC, but obviously plenty of other ones to watch out for sure. Because the APAC players. It's not easy qualifying from APAC, so most of them actually definitely could pack quite a punch in this stuff. Tristan, do you have to head out, or do you?
Yeah, I gotta head out.
Okay,
so I'll let you guys wrap up the rest. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.
All right, catch you later, Tristan. So Tristan's gone, but we're gonna cover a few things. So we had some APAC Grassroots tournaments. To recap, especially since we're talking about APAC right now, but I'll let Steve take the lead on this one.
Sure. So I guess 2 things that we've got to talk about. Number one is something we've already mentioned a couple times in the last, 20-30 minutes, being that Journey to Worlds tournament. So essentially this was a tournament that Dracoviz was hosting, Anacor very much spearheading. That the aim of the tournament was very much raising sort of funds so that whoever wins the tournament is able to get essentially a travel award to Worlds. So everyone that qualified for Worlds from one of these APAC tournaments but didn't get a travel award, so essentially people who didn't come first, and actually second place at PJCS, I think also got a travel award. Essentially anyone who didn't get a travel award from Asia, they were sort of invited to participate in this tournament, Open Great League, Double Elim, classic sort of stuff. And the winner sort of walked out with the fundraising pool to help get them to the World Championships in Honolulu. And as Kaz mentioned before, did end up with Fasalt coming out on top with not undefeated streak, but they didn't end up dropping a match. So they stayed in the winners bracket, taking out a list of names that have been mentioned this entire podcast, taking out Charming Chinder, Shin Lena, RNX Legend Push, Lingo, and then Lingo again in the grand finals. So if Fasalt wasn't getting put in the top pick section, I think we'd have problems. So
I had to. I feel like Caleb and I casted over all those matches, and it was entertaining to watch. just the level of gameplay, because again, all of us casters pointed out several times, we don't get to see these players very often, so it was just a unique opportunity, not to mention a good chance for the community to come together and support one another, which I do think the Pokemon Go community is very good at. And yeah, it was really cool that more of these qualified players had a chance to receive a travel award to help them make it to Honolulu, because it's only going to make the World Championships more more diverse and more fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. And like we saw, like there was sort of a similar tournament back in 2022 that I think King was sort of hosting, and Alan. What numbers are after Alan's name? Is it? I want to say 617.
I can look it up real quick.
I never remember numbers, but anyway,
Alan 716.
Oh, close. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest.
You knew there was a 7 in there somewhere.
That's pretty good. But yeah, Alan ended up sort of winning that tournament, getting a travel award to go to London, and ended up performing really well in the seniors division, top 3.
Yeah.
Top 2.
Oh, yeah, second place even.
Yeah, second place.
Top 3, technically correct, but yeah, second place.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was also top 100.
Let's go! So, we'll see if we sort of see the same thing happen here when Fasalt, maybe top 2, maybe top 1 even, if Kaz is on the money. But obviously, one of the things that I like the most about the APAC region over sort of every other region is the amount of spice picks that sort of come through from the Asia region. And like I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago as well, but I did a bit of a deep dive on like the unique amount of Pokemon that reach the top 8 and the top 16 from every tournament, like per season, because I was trying to look at like what was the most balanced season, how many unique picks were there in Noctowl, Lantern, Trevenant meta compared to current meta, for example. And I actually had to exclude the APAC region out of this data because they were, for one, 2 reasons. Number one, they were incredibly spicy compared to everyone else. So like some of the, North American tournaments, there were like 20 unique picks in the top 8. And it's like, okay. And then like some of the APAC tournaments, there were 43. It was like, okay, there's something going on here. And like that would be fine if it was spread out across seasons. But the APAC tournaments are also all in like a single season period. So if you included them in the data, you just see this massive spike when the APAC tournaments come in. It's like, oh, this must have been the most unique meta of all time. It's just Asia. But essentially, as a result of that, we sort of, we see things like Lingo qualifying for Worlds with Empoleon. We saw Shinlena qualify for Worlds with Gudra before it was cool. Before 2-0 Butters was even talking about it. True. And so we definitely saw that coming through in this tournament as well, where, as mentioned, Lingo was running that Empoleon, came second. We saw Pomer Totoro come in third, and they were running a Trevenant, and I think they were running something else as well. And then we also had, as Kaz mentioned, RNX Legend Push, who finished in the top 6 of that tournament with a Shadow Giraffe rig, which was...
That thing felt unstoppable at some point.
I have a pretty high rank one that I kind of want to test out sometime in the future. If it's eligible in a GBL meta, I might try running it, but...
You can run it in Remix right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, eligible if it's
right now, Caleb.
What am I really beating with
this?
No. What am I trying to find with a Giraffe right now?
Hey, land a Trailblaze.
Poliwrath.
Yeah, Poliwrath.
Maybe Toxapex would be good.
Yeah. I saw some Tentacruel today.
Yeah, Tentacruel. Sure.
Oh, you definitely do. It's very glassy.
Steve, you can't be encouraging this, man. Well, I'm not going to eat the jelly beans. Like, I understand where Kaz is coming from, but you...
Jelly beans!
This ain't the time.
Okay, no, Caleb, we need to push this. So you're a content creator. You put out teams. People copy your teams. You need to put out some bunk teams so that we can then just beat that team going into the Go Battle League. You need to, promote Bastardon lead. Like, oh, it's the greatest thing of all time. And then we run Obstagoon in the lead and just have a field day. So I'll be waiting.
I'm sensing a plot.
Yeah. Speaking of Gudra and Butters, I know Butters ran Gudra in this one tournament, right? We won't talk about the specifics of it, Steve.
Yeah.
But he didn't do so hot.
I think it'll be yeah.
Well, this will be 2 weeks from now, so I don't know if you want.
I think it'll be announced like the day before this comes out, something like that.
Okay. So you want mention it?
We can mention it here. So at the end of this month, there's going to be a Clash of the Casters tournament where everyone who commentated one of the 2024 Play Pokemon tournaments has sort of all been invited into this one Open Great League tournament. So, you've got everyone from NA, you've got EU, you've got Latin America, you've got some of the Perth regional casters in there as well. Plus Zoe Two Dots, because I was like, nah, heck yeah, Zoe's in.
Yeah. Well, she hosted UIC, right?
Yeah, she was host. So I was like,
did I tell you I battled Zoe Two Dots in person?
Yeah, she told me.
Yeah. It was at GoFest in New York. She came to PV time. She's like, oh, we're matched up for this week. I was like, you want to just do it now? She's like, okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, all results to be, pending. There'll be it's split into 2 weeks actually. There's going to be one stream that sort of goes over a variety of the casters, sort of give everyone a bit of a spotlight.
Oh, I still need to upload some of my footage. Look, not to make any excuses on my losses, but I didn't tell my opponents this. It was a little frustrating, but that was when I had the cracked screen. Like I haven't every single round until this round. I haven't battled my round, but the first 4 rounds of this tournament, I had a cracked screen, so like my switch and like gameplay was so sloppy.
Yeah.
Obviously,
we'll see
I'm not
footage.
undefeated,
we'll see what happens.
But anyway, Butters went 1-4 with his Gudra. So I don't know, man. This thing wasn't cooking like you thought it might be. I know Steve also. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the battles, I guess.
Stay tuned for the battles. Yeah. Sorry to spoil some of that, but you won't see Butters in the finals anyways. So ain't gonna be much of a spoiler. Right? You'd be lucky you see any footage of him.
Has he uploaded? Is the question. Actually, But I think. The other cool thing about this tournament, I guess, just because this is officially the Clash of the Casters plug segment, put it in the in the notes, that Fishy Legs 2, one of the Perth regional casters, he asked the question like, if all the casters are here, who's going to cast this tournament? And for me, the natural answer to that is that the people that are going to be casting the week 1 tournament, it's Axon, Dancing Rob, M.E. Weedle. And then week 2, it's Axon coming back with Sylph World Champions, Speediest Chief, and Dunebug coming in to cast as well. So.
Wait, does Speedy not participate in this?
No, he was like, he was traveling, and so he was like, I'm not going to have the internet to compete. So I was like, hey, you're still a world champion.
You're not going to have the internet to compete. Freaking Nighttime Clash was battling in China. Dude, forget about the internet. He had a whole firewall he had to get through.
Yeah, look, some people are better at dodging than others. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's how it is. I do need to schedule my final matchup because I have 4 hours left, and neither of us has said anything to each other yet. So, it's not really.
You can't blame that cracked screen anymore.
No, that's true. You better win.
I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm ready to go. What do you call it? Yeah, speaking of Nighttime Clasher, because I think he did all these battles for the most part in China, which is wild. Yeah. But he said he would lose turns pretty frequently. And then I also asked him, can you GBL in China? We're talking about APAC, right? So might as well talk about China. And he said, yeah, you could GBL in China. And I was reading Reddit posts, and they were saying that if you try to catch the Pokemon on the 3rd encounter, it just freezes.
Oh.
So like you can't get past that step, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, then I just got to intentionally go 2-3 or worse every single set if I want to like GBL while I'm in China visiting like family there. But then I asked Nighttime, and he said, actually, no. Now, like he said, he was able to catch encounters in GBL. It just has an unknown tag at the bottom.
Interesting.
Instead of like for the location.
Huh.
So that's not bad, right? I don't care if I can't catch Pokemon spin stops. As long as I have enough Pokeballs, like I'm good to go. I could just GBL 25 battles every day in China when I'm there, which is not the end of the world. I mean,
you're gonna have to build a team, I guess. But there are little bits.
Build a team.
Well, like you've got to catch Pokemon to to be able to PvP in the first place, I suppose.
Well, no, I don't have to start a new account. I can run my own account.
If you're traveling through. I do have an egg. I don't remember who sent it to me, but there's like little pockets in China that you can that you can play and stuff.
My family's like in the capital, so there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm in the firewall is real strong where my family's at. But so anyway, just something to note for future. If any of our listeners ends up going to China, please let me know the moment you do if that's all accurate or not, or Nighttime Clash just misinforming me here, because my worst fear is I start my GBL set, I go like 3-2 and I can't catch my encounter, and that's it. I can't GBL for the rest of the time because I can't move past this like one part. So
only one way to find out.
Well, the lesson learned here is like, if you want to set up a bet against Caleb while he's in China, and you just hope that he's been misinformed.
True, dude. This podcast recording is going to be even more. I don't know how we're going to do that. Like that's the Zencaster work in China.
We'll have to get King IV in here instead. One of the other.
Yeah, true. Because we have the other Caleb already on the podcast. So
get King and Aaron Zeng in here, and we'll just have a Caleb will be covered.
Yeah, it'll be Caleb and Caleb. It'll be like a Dracoviz like tournament recap where it's just the same person. Just a bunch of Calebs in the same tournament. We also had a Clash of Champions. Did you talk about the Clash of Champions? Oh yeah, no, you haven't, right?
No, we talked about Journey to Worlds. So Clash of Champions was a different spotlight.
Yeah, all this APAC spotlight all happening at once. But yeah, one of the other things I like to do is grab all the players and put them together like action figures and play together. So essentially, I invited all
play together. You make it seem like they're battling to death with the little fists that you're doing there. I was like,
well, see how many of these guys make it to Worlds after this thing. So when this comes out, I think the stream was like 2 weeks ago now, a week and a half, I guess. But essentially, the winner of the South Korean tournament, the APAC tournament, Thailand, Taiwan, India, and Indonesia, and Japan was invited as well, but he didn't want to participate, which is like, fair enough. Yeah. So the other 6 sort of rounded them all up. Again, Open Great League, Swiss tournament, put them all against each other, see what happens. And as mentioned earlier in the top picks bit, Yakai ended up taking it out in pretty solid fashion, taking out 3 of the other champs, taking out I think Taiwan's Gamebird TW, also took out Goji, the South Korean champ, and then also took out BJ Pawat from Thailand as well. And there wasn't as much spice in this tournament. I don't think any of the champions of the APAC tournaments necessarily won with any super spicy picks either. But, I think the only spicy pick that sort of came through was Goji, who was running the same Giratina and Wigglytuff that I think he was running when he did win the South Korean playoffs as well. So I did pretty well, but it was a really even tournament as well. And the results, I think Twastel posted the results table somewhere, but it was Yakai was on 3 wins, and then it was 2 wins, 5 battle wins, 2 match wins, 5 battle wins. It was just sort of even all the way down. I think after round 2, it was literally Yakai had won 2, BJ Pawat had won 0, and the 4 in the middle all had identical results. It was so going into the final round. Wow. So it'll be interesting to sort of see these guys playing on the world's stage. But look, let's just say they're pretty good.
It's so interesting too to see, especially when they face off against other players, like big name players too. Because sometimes you can see the big name players outplay each other significantly. I'm like, whoa, there's actually a bigger skill gap than I would have imagined. So but it's hard to imagine too, seeing that.
The thing that stood out the most from watching these battles through, because it was 3.5 hours, 3.5 hour stream. So there were a lot of, I think it was 9 sets of matches. They were all really good at just constant catches, and they were really good at sort of narrowing in on that win con and just executing. So I'd be pretty spooked if you sit against one of these APAC players round 1 at Worlds. So watch out.
Yeah, definitely not what I want to face. All right. Well, that does it for our Grassroots APAC segment. And let's talk briefly about this T topic as well, too. This was posted at the time of this recording, probably a week ago. So about 2 weeks ago by the time this comes out. But PvPoke actually said, adding to recent conversations, PvPoke traffic has been in steady decline over the past year. And I don't think it's a stretch to say it's a pulse check for PvP as a whole. Worlds going into Adventures Abound had a lot of positive momentum, but failed to retain players long term. So you can see like he has a general traffic graph, and it's just like constantly dropping throughout the months. He continues, I feel that a gap is widening between Play Pokemon, which is more active and competitive than ever, and general PvP. Most of Go's player base has already written off PvP, and the state of the game is pushing away those who haven't. PvP needs a healthy ground floor to keep building up. I don't think the share skies are falling. However, the state of PvP feels self-fulfilling. Niantic doesn't dedicate enough resources because the player base is small, and the player base stays small because Niantic doesn't dedicate the resources. I hope Play Pokemon can provide motivation. What are your all thoughts on this as we start discussing it?
I mean, as I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the YouTube comments that kind of touched on this, like little things we could do to change it. The overall gameplay itself has not. I mean, what was the last major update we saw?
So it depends what you define an update, right? When they got rid of fast move denial, was that an update or was it like fixing a bug that should have been fixed, right?
Well, I guess I don't
For the actual,
mean technical things like that. I mean like actual like in-game features. So like
probably like the swiping and the bubbles, right?
Yeah, or were buffs and debuffs introduced?
Yes, buffs and debuffs, yeah. Because for those that don't know, originally when you buff something, it's permanently buffed for the entire game. So like if your power punch buffed 4 times, you swap out, you come back in, it's still buffed. And same thing with the debuffs too, which back when they got rid of it, everyone's like, oh my gosh, like that's such a bad change. But then people start realizing like, nah, it's probably better for game balance purposes. Because like Medicham was busted strong back then before it was even excelled. And you're like, I remember I was at Zoomo versus Medicham. I'm like, I'm gonna have to start shielding some of these power punches eventually because none of the Medicham even ran psychic. I think they ran power punch and like ice punch maybe.
Yeah, well back then was like a power punch did more damage as well. Like,
well, yeah.
Psychic was
just
move.
Yeah. Power punch was a really good move. They had to nerf too beyond just the buffs being removed when you swap out, but also psychic was a much worse move. So they had to buff psychic afterward. But I think every Medicham just ran power punch and ice punch because ice punch is better than psychic.
That was pretty standard because ice punch you kind of needed for the coverage. You didn't always need psychic necessarily unless you were trapped against another Medicham. But if you got buffed enough, you just
like muscle through a power punch. It was crazy.
So that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about when it comes to like long-term relationships with players competing and participating in GBL. We haven't seen a major like shift in how we play this game in years at this point. So I think about some of the things that are implemented in the main series games that might be able to find their way to Pokemon Go battles. Things like weather effects and abilities that Pokemon have. I mean, that's not been introduced to the game at all. But we did get weather features like in the way we play the game.
Yeah.
In the map and everything. So that could be something that I think might be the next change we could see, since they've already, I think, been looking for ways to implement it into the game experience. It might be the easiest thing, like the most accessible thing for them to add, because abilities, that's gonna like change the state of the game if Pokemon have like kind of a secret weapon, that might buff them or debuff their opponents in some way, based on conditions, that are implemented. So, and we were talking about this in those YouTube comments about like, oh, we could see moves that have a base damage set, whether they're, same type attack bonus or not, which could very well change the way that we play the game too. So these are the kind of things that I think about, that like we need to see some sort of technical shift in the game implemented if we're going to both increase interest and diversify, current players playing the way they play the game.
Yeah. I think there's very much a ceiling at the moment as far as like once you've mastered move counts and team composition and being able to read your opponent's team and whatnot, there's nowhere to go. And so people have improved over the last 2, 3, 4 years. They're so much better now than they were then, and we are really picking up on things now that we didn't before. But there is a limit to that, and eventually and potentially even now, like I don't know if there's much room to go as far as the players who are like the best in the world. Like others have a little bit of catching up to do, but not that much. It's really just keeping up on all of the changes they make to, if they make water gun do 1 more damage, it's just like, oh, okay, I've just got to recalibrate to those new numbers and now I'm good to go. There's no depth or new things that can sort of get cooked up. And so I haven't put in the thought to think about how they would implement, abilities and such in a way that doesn't like completely just,
I know,
completely change everything.
I can't conceive of it myself. I can only look at what exists in the games that Pokemon Go are sourced from.
Yeah.
And think that someday there's got to be some way of implementing that.
Yeah. Well, I think that just needs to be that excitement factor in and something that I know Rise has done a little bit. Like he's been thinking about like what else can you do to make content in Pokemon Go, and like he's done things like he's taken Gotham Chess's Guess the Elo, and he was doing that in Go Battle League and stuff. But he was also like trying to think of doing like Wolfie sort of videos, sort of going through histories and running through tournaments and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like I was just sort of watching it, and I'm just like, there just isn't the depth in this game that Wolfie is able to sort of use in his videos, because there's not actually that much strategizing. Like in game, you can talk about strategy as much as you want. Like, oh, he might have this in the back, so I kept this Pokemon alive. Like there's not much you can do that actually brings excitement. And like, other than going like, oh, I know that this is like, he's going to take 5 Incinerates to get to this move, and he's probably going to wait 1 turn to, try and thingo. So, but it's just like, that's not interesting. It doesn't engage viewers. It doesn't get people hyped and want to try out the game. So I feel like there does need to be some sort of push to adding depth in some sense, which I think a lot of people are just instinctively going to be, I don't think they're going to like it because it's different and they're going to have to completely relearn the game in some sense.
Yeah.
But I think it's important though.
But I think it's necessary for longevity.
I think it's necessary. Yeah. I would second that feeling, Steve. We need some sort of drastic change, because right now it's just, I mean, and all the comments on this post that you've shared from PV Poke, like they all kind of echo the same thing. It does feel very stale.
There's like, I feel like I want to say they're simple to implement. Maybe they're simple for Niantic to implement, but there's just certain things that they could do to add just slightly more variety to the game. Like I think before we were like, oh, having 3 charge attacks is too busted. I'm at the point where like having 3 charge attacks might be the play, right? Just get a little better coverage. You essentially make all matchups more neutral, right? What is the biggest, like what's the scariest part about adding a 3rd charge attack? Like what becomes stupid broken? Like, well, not even a Azumarill, right? It's not even that bad. Deoxys offense? I don't know. Like it's just like maybe like a Quagsire maybe gets annoying because you have like Acid Spray, Aqua Tail, and like I don't know, maybe stuff like that. But I think, but that makes things more interesting, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about like that Empoleon Quagsire matchup. Like if you could have Aqua Tail, Stone Edge, and Mud Bomb, then Empoleon really has nowhere to go in that matchup.
True.
So I mean. But that's only one matchup, and it's rare to kind of experience that. And most Pokemon have coverage for a reason. It's to make the game like more balanced, more interesting, and more difficult.
Yeah, of course. Like keeping track of energy for 3 different attacks gets way harder, right? Gligar's running Night Slash, Aerial Ace, and Dig, and we're like, dang, they're baiting with a Night Slash, and then now they're baiting with the Aerial Ace. When they're going to throw the Dig, right, or whatever. So,
I'm so bad at math. I'm digging my own grave here.
Well, I see what you did there. For real. Registeel, I guess, could get pretty busted, but still, like it's just like it's nice to have that coverage at least, so that you can you can have more play and just one extra thing to keep track of. It just adds a little bit more skill expression. Because I feel like we're at the point where the top players have already just like maximized what they can do at this point. Like it's just more about building a good team and scrimming and feeling ready and stuff. But I think mechanically, almost all of them are like around the same level at this point. And just like there's only so much better you could get at this game. And even if you're the best player, you still get like RPS potentially. And it's just like
this doesn't. Well, that also reminds me, and this doesn't necessarily kind of address, I think, the problem we're talking about. But if we look at GBL specifically, not necessarily the tournament, play Pokemon Championship Series or anything. If we look at GBL specifically, we've also had the blind 3 format forever.
Yep.
And and they've introduced kind of the idea of unique metas, which was helpful.
Yeah.
Although very confusing to, I think, newer players to engage with the format. That's a whole different thing though. Anyway, the point is we could also look at the idea, and I know it's been posed before, of introducing a Show 6 format to GBL.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like that too, just so that you actually get like you're actually able to practice the game mode that you'll be playing in for the official tournaments. Yeah. My biggest fear with all that is unless you get rid of the blind 3s, if you have Show 6 as well, the queue times are gonna be even worse. That's a problem because there's just not enough players, right? Like if you had like an extra 5 million active players in PvP, queue times get reduced, right? So part of it's like you need to incentivize more people to PvP because there's plenty of people that play Pokemon Go.
Here's another idea, one that I've often spoken of with other people before too. Instead of just having the blind 3 format where you're entering into a queue and you're definitely like you win and you're rewarded, or you lose or you're punished, in terms of points and in terms of status, there should be a practice league that you can just enter into, because that way newer players who'd have no idea what they're doing wouldn't feel like they go in and they always lose, so they just shouldn't try. Because that's like the problem that I have. Like, I've mentioned before, most of the people that I'm closest friends with and play this game with, like, they're more casual. They don't really have any interest in battling, because as soon as I start trying to explain it, they're just like, no, that's too much. So it's really hard for them to just even engage with the idea of entering into this format that they have no great way to really learn, and they have no incentive to try, because they enter in, they just use whatever Pokemon they like, and they might lose a lot. Yeah. So having a practice league where people could kind of enter in wherever, use whatever, and play, like, no rewards, right? Like, so you're not necessarily, Niantic doesn't feel like pressured to provide something for people who aren't, trying for the ELO or whatever. No rewards, but you can just enter, you can just try things, you can just learn, you can just practice without feeling like you're just constantly like put down because you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Well, I think on that point as well is that I really do feel like there needs to be some sort of in-game tutorial in some sense to PvP, because there is literally no concept. Like, the best you get is the Team Rocket grunts telling you like, hey, fire is good against ice if you lose to an ice grunt. Like, that's all of the help you get in game. There's no concept of like one of the the biggest confusions that I've seen again and again and again out of new players is, like, seems really dumb to us, but it was the concept of, hey, my opponent just threw 2 charge attacks back to back. How, like, what's that about? Like, that's
how is that possible?
So how did they do that? Are they cheating?
Like, if the username is Jesus G, then yeah, they probably are.
It's happened before. I don't think that these guys first starting out are probably going to match into Jesus G. Let's put it that way. But like, there's no concept of like, why is my move taking longer? There's no concept of like, oh, this is a bad attack because it's like, it costs a lot of energy. Like, you need to find these resources. And I was having these conversations with people when I was in South Africa. It was like these guys who are like, they're interested in PvP. They do GBL, but they're running Metal Claw, Galarian, Stunfisk because they don't know any better. And it's like how are they supposed to know that they should be running Mudshot, Galarian, Stunfisk? how are they supposed to know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the regional streams that we do, we are fortunate to have in North America and in EU and a little bit from LATAM, is they do have those short videos that you guys have made about, same type attack bonuses and move timing and team building and that sort of thing. And that's really helpful, but a lot of these people like aren't going to watch those streams.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I can tell them about it. I can tell them to watch and hope for the best, but honestly, if people are just getting into this idea, like it's really hard to just jump into one of those streams because you still kind of don't really know what it all means. So yeah, Steve, I think you're right. Like we need another, like some kind of resource in the game to be, to have those helpful pointers in one place that people can access regularly if they want to learn. Because yeah, the idea is we also need to be encouraging people to explore this way of playing the game as well.
Honestly, get those videos that are being used on the Play Pokemon stream and just have them linked in this sort of, one post sort of in the, in game. Like these are obviously Pokemon is happy with these videos. They're good videos. They're well produced. They're like official. It feels like that would be a really helpful, even if make a YouTube playlist and put one link to the YouTube playlist.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I think about how they have the the research tab, right? Like we have a timed research that's going on right now. We have our research tasks in another tab. We have our special research in another tab. I mean, that could easily be implemented in the battle menu as well. Like we have a tab for.
There's a little question mark right there. And if you tap that, there could be,
exactly. Like we have a tab for the battles and we have a tab for our teams. Like, why not have a tab that has, kind of like the in-game news, like what's been going on over in regional tournaments, or what's been, what are the videos that have been the casters have put together for us.
Yeah. It's honestly, because there's just so much going on in the game. It just becomes so I can't imagine starting Pokemon Go today, right? Just from a fresh account. Like, oh, by the way, there's 1,000 special quests that you need to catch up on, right? Mateo's running around doing whatever, and you don't know what that's about. There's routes, there's the fusion, special effects, and the adventure effects.
And even I open the game sometimes. I'm like, what even?
So much going on. I was like, even though we do the podcast and we talk about events coming up, I'm still like, what is where do I get this freaking shelter, right? For this.
I mean, just yesterday we were recording and we were talking about these are the party or the route benefits, and I was like, I gotta walk routes. I'm already doing so much. Go Fast is already hard enough just as an event to participate in, and you're giving me more homework.
It took us 30 plus minutes to break down what's even spawning at Go Fast, right?
Oh my god,
what's going on?
So
I don't even know when is Go. What is the time frame? I'm on the website and I can't even find that. Is that just me? When does Global Go Fest? What is the time frame of Global Go Fest?
It's probably 10 to 5. I feel
probably
like that's normal, in your local time.
Yeah, we had to go to Elite. We had to go to a different website because it literally doesn't say. It's just Saturday and Sunday. It doesn't say what time it starts. The habitats, whatever.
10 to 6.
So,
10 to 6. Okay.
According to Leaked Us, which I'm going to assume is correct.
So
yeah, I mean there are in-game things that can change, and there are things in battling that I think could change too. And since we're a battling focused podcast, yes, I think there are several ways that we can shake up PvP and garner interest in it from new players at the same time that we're rejuvenating the established player base for that particular way of playing. It's just a matter of when it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And again, these are ideas, the things I mentioned, they're from the main series, in terms of actual technical things. So I know they have to be there's got to be a whiteboard in some room where it's all written down and looks like we're putting all the red strings connecting them, But I imagine that that's somewhere in Niantic.
But I think there's a few cobwebs on it at this point. But
I think so too. But so I have to believe, I have to have hope that it's being thought about at some point. So it's just a matter of hopefully soon, we get that shakeup that we're all looking for.
Yeah, I hope so too. We'll see what that looks like. Obviously,
and then PB Poke will not, have reason to have concerns about their traffic.
Yeah, it's like I feel like the peak of Pokemon Go PvP was probably during COVID, right? Like when a lot of people were like into GBO when it first dropped. People were streaming, trying to figure out the game. But at this point, like everyone's figured out the game. No one really needs to watch like a content creator's videos to figure out what they're running. Some people might still be if they like the content creator, or some people that are still newer to PvP. But like I think a lot of experienced players aren't really even doing that anymore, right? So it kind of just I don't know. It's tough. We'll see how that goes. But I know, like, people like even Zionic, right? One of the founder of the Battlecast podcast, is like not even. I don't think he's even posting like Pokemon Go videos as frequently anymore.
Well, he has had COVID now for
him
and his family for a few weeks.
Oh, he did.
So.
Yeah, so he did post a video 3 days ago.
There's other reasons.
Yeah, there definitely are. But yeah. So he's but I think like if I'm not mistaken, I think he created a new channel. I think.
Yeah, for non-Pokemon.
Yeah, for non-Pokemon, and he's grown it quite
Gaming?
a bit. Sonic Gaming. Okay, Destiny 2 YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's see what. Yeah, he's already. Well, he's posting content here or there. He's already at 7.3K followers on that one though, and his videos are popping off. I mean, he's got like 100+ K videos. Yeah, like it's I mean his.
Wow.
I mean his thumbnails are pretty good too. I don't know whoever's making those thumbnails is doing a good job, but yeah, he's got like his most recent video had 53K views. Like, what's his most popular video? Yeah, he had 137K views on one of his videos, which is kind of wild. So
I don't know what you're looking at. I'm seeing 174K.
Yeah, that's what I said. What did I say?
137.
Oh, my bad. I just read the number wrong. Yeah, I'm looking at 174. I was looking at the same video.
There's certainly lots of gaming content to be had. I mean, all of us, I think, play other games other than Pokemon Go. I've been playing Yoshi's Crafted World on the Switch, and it's amazing.
Yoshi's Crafted World?
It's so cute.
What does that
Everything
mean?
in it is so cute. It's a game where you play as Yoshi, and everything in the game looks like it's animated, like it's all been handmade, like cut out of cardboard, sewn together with yarn. There's like glitter everywhere. It is the cutest game.
That's pretty dope. Wait, what's the goal of the game?
It's kind of structured the same way Mario games are. Like you're going to different worlds, looking to like conquer each level,
trying to beat a big bad turtle.
Yeah. There's a big there's a big vulture that was made out of paper cups that I had to battle.
It was a vulture made out of paper cups?
Yeah.
What in the world?
This game is freaking cute.
I've seen some clips. It
is Yoshi made out of paper too, or is Yoshi not?
He's like made out of little like felt. He looks like he's made out of like pulled felt.
Wait, it's called Yoshi's what?
Crafted World.
Interesting.
Everyone should play it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I mean, my husband and I built this arcade cabinet that plays any game possible. So, there's a million games out there.
Oh, this is definitely, if you're liking the crafts, this is definitely, it looks like he's like riding a car right now with,
Yeah. Oh, you can make your Yoshi wear little costumes too that are also crafted. Mine is wearing a little hat with a crow on it.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love it so
Anyway,
much.
what we're trying to say, Niantic, is please update PvP. Just do something, right? Make the Pokemon all cardboard and make it interesting, right? I don't know.
If you make mandibuzz out of cups, we'll play.
Yeah, Cortana's not good enough, right? We need more of those things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ideas because I quote tweeted that same tweet from PV Poke, and I got a lot of suggestions on what people should do, what Niantic could introduce into the game. So there are definitely a few things that stand out. But again, like 3 charge attacks, not the end of the world. I think that'd be kind of interesting. The only one that's really struggling from that is like Wobbuffet, but that's.
But again, like if you're if you're in these scenarios where like, you were saying before, like Registeel might be broken or whatever, you can change the stats and stuff. Like you can
change the stats, but like also like, is it really broken? Because then everything else has more coverage into it too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not like Bastion's going to beat Registeel if it had a third move, right? Like a lot of the matches are the same.
There's one way. Like I don't think there's one Pokemon that's necessarily going to be overpowered, because if you do the same thing for all of them, then yeah, I think it starts to balance itself
I
out.
think Zacian and Xerneas will be pretty strong in Master League.
Like even if you give
they have like a
Lantern Ice Beam, which it can learn,
yeah.
which is its best coverage move, that's still not going to make it any less in fear of grass types. So
yeah.
It'll just make those matchups a little more interesting instead of just kind of like, ugh.
Mew could be fun.
Oh yeah,
I'd be okay if Mew's more meta. With I mean, it's open team sheets, right? So it's
true.
I mean, yeah, it's not like Mew
no more
beats
grass
Dark
knot
types.
surprises.
That's right. Well, mine was a Focus Blast one. Getting hit by Focus Blast was or actually it wasn't me. It was someone that was one of my teammates in factions got hit by one, but Palmer's up actually. The usual Palmer's up roast.
Oh
like,
yeah,
guy, you gotta shield.
I feel like at this point it's like that's your segment, Caleb.
Yeah, honestly, he should be happy for all this free promo, so that
roast my friend
so that less people at GoFest would be like, "Who's this guy?"
Oh yeah, I heard Caleb talk about that guy.
yeah. Oh, you're that guy. Anyway, I think that'll do it for us.
Okay,
next
one
week.
last thing.
One
final update.
Oh, for sure. Let's hear it.
I finished my 10 raids.
Oh, let's go. Wait, did you get any shiny encounters from the Ultra Beast or no?
No, well, I actually got a shiny Nihilego the other day.
What?
My encounters. So,
wait, for your research encounter?
Yeah, research encounter.
The research one, nice.
It can't go under for Great League though, right?
Nah, it's like the most useless one that I could have got. It's unfortunate. But hey,
I feel like there's not going to be some people with the shiny Buzzwole. I feel like from the research.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's gonna be a nice one. That and Cartana. Those are definitely good ones.
But hey, we're here.
All good. Well, congratulations, Steve. The rest of us will probably join you soon. Hopefully.
If you don't catch up by the time like the time zone ticks over, you should be embarrassed. Just
okay.
Just saying.
Yeah. Next week we will cover EU for our spotlight for Road to Worlds. So
I won't be here. I will not be covering EU. So
yeah, Steve hates EU, but
it's out of revenge because EU is probably the biggest country that dumps on the oceanic region so much.
Why are they such oceanic haters? Like there's the EU players are mad haters.
Empire.
What was it? Is that what it was? Is it your fault? Didn't they send all their prisoners to Australia? Wasn't that how it was? It's not like they want to leave, right? Yeah. Like it was like you all didn't have a choice. They're like, hey, like they just dumped them off on Australia, hoping that they would just like.
We're also gonna have a history lesson.
Yeah, be like. Yeah, please educate me. But that's just what I heard. It's kind of like one of the situations where it's like, it's like one of those old mythology where like they dump the kid over to the wolves thinking that they would die, and the kid comes back and like takes vengeance on everyone.
Yeah, sets up Rome, I think.
Yeah, this is essentially how Yakovich felt when he went against Kim Ketcherbug. He'd be like, "Oh, you thought you took me out? I'm back." Good times. Anyway, we'll catch you all next week. But yeah, until then, have a good one. Peace.
Bye.